Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I, Bancroft, being joined once again by Jimmy. And hey, what? We got Fluff back.
Sir.
Hey, I'm back. What up, beautiful people?
So we have to ask, how was the Guitar Center Point 2.0?
I wish it was Guitar Center.
That's what Jimmy told everyone.
Yeah, for legal reasons, yes, that's what it was. But in actuality, I just decided to spend like a couple days in the local Kmart.
Wait,
Like,
hang on.
like,
Is that place closed down?
yeah, but there was still a tent there.
Fair enough.
No, I'm back. The Guitar Center was great.
I think that was a FEMA camp.
Well, today's matchup is me versus Fluff. I'm bringing back AOD, while Fluff is taking his hand at Hatchhyack. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below, feel free to click them, but let's take it away. Before we go any further, last week I had an AOD on the channel, or 2 weeks ago I think it was, and someone had mentioned a question about the ruling of the one-drop bobbity because the new rule changes. I want to clarify before we go too much further. AOD still works the way it always has. I know there's confusion in the rules, but if I'm correct, Jimmy, you are the judge as well. One of the head judges had openly said that there is an issue with the ruling, and it will be addressed on the next actual update. AOD still works the way it always has been, and SS4 TOA will still work the way it will work.
Yeah, it's just due to the wording of the rule. All of the cost reduction type cards that this wording affected will just play exactly the same as it always has, and it just comes down to getting a fix to that particular ruling. So it's no big deal. It's just Bandai doing Bandai things.
Yeah.
So this match was very intriguing because I was like, I hadn't had a lot of time to build a deck, and I was like, I'll just bring AOD again, just a nice little aggro-based deck, and I'm getting matched up with the one deck you don't want to get matched up with when it comes to aggro, which is an anti-aggro deck. I have nothing in my deck that's an 8-cost card. Because that's what Hatchhyack, or is it 7 or more?
7 or more.
7 or more. So, like, every turn, I'm like, okay, I can only swing with one battle card, and then I have to think of what else to do. So, this was definitely a very long game.
I'd been absent for, I think I missed 2 weeks with everything that I had going on, but I didn't know what to play. And I've honestly been kind of dry on decks to make for the channel and decks to make to bring. So we had Hatchhyack put together from when we were testing Gen Con. And I was like, hey, I haven't actually had a chance to play this deck. Let me take it. So I picked it up. I skimmed through the deck and just kind of like did the mental checklist. Like, yeah, Gogetas are there. Demigods are there. I've got this card. I've got this card. And I counted. It was 50 cards. Actually, I think it was like 55. And we went on about our way. And like, I felt so bad getting paired up against you in round 1 because of that. I was like, damn, this sucks.
Both the unisons I play do have double strike, so I do have a way of getting damage into it.
Yes.
But it's just such a... Normally, AOD can finish the game. If lucky, it could do turn 2. Normally, turn 3, And sometimes it has to go to turn 4, but normally turn 3 is where AOD can finish a game. And then now I'm in the idea, I'm like, okay, just gotta play the long game. Gotta search for the right cards I need to do what I need to do and just hold off until I'm able to just poke at you enough times.
Yep. And my general thought is because I know you're going to try to put out like a 20,000 body that's going to be a little bit more relevant. So I want to get the 4-star balls in hand. And I would like to start recycling 2 4-star balls per turn. So I boarded out 2 of the Kid Coup so I'll have 2 balls to combo with to keep my life total as high as possible for as long as possible. Which is it's really sick being able to do that early. And then, of course, Demigra, which both of your shit has barrier, so it's not going to get to warp anything off, but I do get to rip a card out of your hand, and it lets me draw a card. At this point, I'm trying to set up my hand for things that are going to happen on like turn 5, turn 6. And you see, I charged the Masked King, or is that the Masked Prince? It's the Masked Prince. I charged the Masked King, yeah. So I charged him, thinking that like, oh, I've got so many better plays that it's just not going to be relevant in this matchup. And you'll see that I do come to regret not keeping that card in my hand.
So, Bancroft, I have a question for you here.
Yeah.
Knowing that you only get one battle card swing a turn, and you have so many cards that either like attacking or like being in rest mode, which cards are you valuing more? So you have the Turles in play, which will search top 5 and add cards to your hand, where the Bojack that's in your energy will lock down your opponent's leader. I believe the Bojack you warped also needs to be in rest mode as well.
Correct.
And then you also have 20k bodies that would be better at dealing damage. So what are you valuing more when it comes to attacking?
So early game would definitely be, as you saw, the Turles in combination with the leader as well, because both of them will allow me to search what I need. Mid game focus was either going to be Broly or that Bojack, because I was trying to figure out what's more important. A 20k battle card that allows me to look up the top 3 cards in my deck, and right there I did look up the 3 and I grabbed 1, and it could pop a card, or a card that I could swing, then tap 2 energy to keep my opponent's leader locked. And I focus more on the Broly, I think, in the long run, because I needed just more cards to my hand, because since I can't swing with a Turles, I want other ways of searching cards. And not just AOD cards, but any card, because that's the way Broly works. You just look up the top 3, add 1 to your hand. And I felt like that was a better approach, but I did think about playing the Bojack, swinging, tapping 2 energy to lock you. The problem is I can't do it on turn 3 because I'm not awakened yet. So I have to wait till at least turn 4 to do it, but I went ahead and just charged it anyway. So Broly, kind of the mid-game until I get Unisons, and then try to just 20k swing, follow with a Unison, follow up with a leader.
Of course.
Yeah, I think Bojack would have been really strong in this match, just because I'm kind of under the same restrictions that you are as far as like what can attack. And in a way, Hatchhyack kind of builds its play strategy with that in mind. But I'm still under that limitation. If I can't find like an 8-drop Gogeta or something like that, like you can see there, I pass my turn with 4 open energy, because even though I have a grip of cards in my hand, I don't have anything to spend my energy on. You ended up KOing the Demigra. I don't have enough of an Overwhelm set up to do another Demigra or another Overwhelm. So I just have to kind of wait for you to do something that's worth me responding to.
Here I was debating about, because we talked about like order of operations, what I can attack with, what I can't attack with, and what I can do. And I was like, I think ultimately, I think it was either an Android 30, I think it was a Turles or that. And I stuck with that instead because I couldn't swing with a 20k and a Turles. And I wanted to just maximize a stronger body swing and then get you potentially combo cards off if you don't want to take the damage. Where it's a 15k, you get to just 1 card away instead of potentially 2 cards.
Yeah. And I'm actually thinking about comboing cards to set up future Overwhelm plays. Just to kind of give me something to do. Because I'm essentially just wasting energy turns here, which is kind of it's the type of thing that Hatchhyack wants to do sometimes. But this wasn't by choice. It wasn't a strategic choice. It was, I just didn't have anything to do. So I'm kind of under your mercy. If you're not triggering my ability to play and respond, then I'm really not using my energy. But at the same time, I'm not threatened by, like, my life is not threatened at this point. I purposefully went down to 4 to turn on super combos so I could start finding things that I needed.
And I went ahead and did the free play on the slug just to, if you try to counterplay from here on out, it's less cards from your hand. I mean, you do have a fat hand anyways.
Well, and black is not a very heavy counterplay deck anyway. Like, there might be like a Super Kamehameha or something like that.
What's that counterplay if your opponent plays a battle card and like it pops all 2 or less, ignoring barrier?
Unexpected turn.
Yeah, I hate that card.
Yeah.
That's what you want to take against this deck, because you get rid of the
well, you don't have a field wide enough to even proc that card at this point.
It's 3
because you have to have 3 battle cards with an energy cost of 2 or more, I believe, or it might be 3 or more, and then it will counterplay the card coming in, then blow up everything 2 or less, ignoring barrier.
Huh. I feel like Jordan might have misplayed against me last game.
Jordan
week.
doesn't know how to play this game.
Apparently. So, this was an interesting situation here. You went to combo the Kai, and I went, you're comboing the Kai? And you've been gone for a couple weeks. And at least I think you're comboing it.
I was going to. I'm paying.
Oh, sorry. It's already occurred. So, yeah, you went to combo it. We talked about it and said you did activate battle instead. And you went to play it.
Yeah. I got the I got it mixed up with the Black Shenron, where you combo then play after the combo.
Yeah.
And had I just like taken a half second to read the card instead of just assuming, but you were nice enough to let me correct it. I mean,
maybe
what does it really change? But
I wasted 3 energy last turn.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything to do with my energy still at this point. Like, everything that I do is trying to dig more. Like, I'm just flipping through my hand, looking for something to play. And, like, it just doesn't feel right. Like, it's like bricking, but bricking for like very specific things. Like, I think at this point, I'm telling you, like, I haven't seen a Zeno Goku the entire game. A Goku Zeno. And you're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And I think you checked my warp there. Like, there hasn't been one except for that ISR. And so that's kind of what I'm setting up here. Is I had to burn the Overwhelm to get the ISR into my drop area so I could utilize it to make the SS4 Gogeta here. And thankfully, he doesn't require the battle powers to be the same.
And I did have another Bojack in my hand that I thought about comboing during your turn. But then I was like, when SS4 comes into play, doesn't it warp 2 cards?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going I would lose it regardless. So instead, I just held on to Petrification to keep it locked.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a feels bad. Which basically tapping out to try to get that resolved.
Yeah. Which also stopped it from me having to warp cards, I think, from my hand as well.
Yep. And then, of course, passing the turn, I lose the Brainwash No More, which that card came in really clutch in situations like this. Just being able to reset a couple cards into the drop area to get yourself set up for plays. That card is fantastic because it's versatile. It's got the battle effect, but then it's also got its on-play effect, which can't be undervalued.
And this is why I hang on to at least one max power Kamehameha for battle cards I hate.
Yeah, so it was like everything I had to get that Gogeta on the field, and that's just not how Hatchhyack is supposed to play. Like, the few times that I have played this deck, you're like spitting thwarting the Dark Empires out left and right on your opponent. So I'm a little concerned at this point as to why, like, none of my one-drop Gokus I'm finding.
And here, I think,
like, it's just bad luck.
You're just taking the damage too, just to
just to find them, because none of the cards in my hand are playable. They're either overwhelms, negates, or a thwarting that requires a Goku and a Vegeta of similar power levels. But like, I hadn't seen my one drop Gokus that are 5K, and I hadn't seen any of the 6 drop Gokus that are 30K to match with my Vegetas. And like, you can see my deck is really low.
I will say, this the second Boo Unison I had was in my hand when I played the first one, and I almost bottomed it to get a +1, and I was so glad I didn't do that.
Yeah, I don't remember what I do here.
So here, I knew you had a fat hand, and you swing the leader, and I'm sitting here debating about either negating or doing a block, because I just have a feeling there's no way you have a hand that big without having a Champa. And here I don't remember why I read. Oh, because I was verifying like the wording of the card. I was like, oh, you can't play anything that isn't black. I'm like, oh, Champa's not playing. You're comboing it. So I was like, there's a good chance you have it now.
Yeah, and like, I know that if you choose to negate here or activate your blocker, my chances for getting through just greatly diminish here.
Here, I was so quick to grab that 13 that I really should have looked for another super combo. I'm not sure why I just grabbed the 13, but it also gave me extra cards in my hand in case you were able to establish another big card that I couldn't just block, or because once I block it, I would have to rely on either -1 on my Unison to stop your next attack without having any energy. Then I'll be going your turn with one less card to swing at you.
Yep.
So I just want extra resources if I can do it.
I'm just not sure if it was like a cocky thing, like you felt really safe, or what.
Well, we'll go into that turn. It's next turn. Or you mean blocking this attack?
Like blocking this attack like not finding your super combo and stuff like that. Yeah,
I just didn't think about it for some reason. I knew I had one in my hand, and there's Jimmy giving us the right packs finally.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm perfect. I don't make mistakes.
Sure.
This is one of those situations where I'm kind of beating myself at this point. I'm almost taken out of this game because I think I only have, and I think you said like I could probably just deck you out. But I think I only have like 6 cards left in my deck, and 1 card in my life, 6 cards in my deck. I know what's in the Hatchhyack deck, so that means that every one of those cards are one of my Goku Zeno targets.
So let's go over this real quick.
Yeah.
First attack, second attack, third attack. You've negated every single one. I'm like, okay, I have to go for this. Like, I just have to swing. And you had another negate. Like, you had 4 negates, 1 for each of my attacks. And I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Here, I threw up an energy. I just got bait that I could stop whatever you could do and go into my next turn.
Yep. You pass up the turn, I draw my card, and my heart sinks. It is not a Goku Zeno. I swing, I draw. It is a Goku Zeno, I believe. And one of the other things complicating this turn is also the fact that as of right now, you have 4 cards worth of combo on the field, one of them being a super combo. Plus, you have a fair amount of cards in your hand. I think you're at like 7 or 8 cards in the hand.
Yeah.
And even though I've got a large hand too, I just have to try to get you to take some damage here.
So I chose not to negate, hoping that maybe I can just out combo you. And I think I was 10k short from to tying you. So I needed 15 more combo power. We talked about it after the match. If I would have kept the Boo Unison on board, I probably could have survived that turn because I had another gate in my hand, and I was choosing to hold off on it because it was a petrification. So if you would have played a big boy, I would just petrified it instead.
Yep.
But unfortunately, I chose Stick to Hit. You had a double strike, but there was one more issue, wasn't there, Fluff?
Yeah, I don't know how this happened, and I don't know why there was a 55 card deck that looked complete, but the deck had a total of 3 Goku Zeno targets in it. One of the ISR Black Goku, the EX Evolve one, and then 2 of the 1-drop negates. My 6-drops and my 1-drops were not in the deck. But that's not the only card that was missing. There was no Super Kamehameha. There was no Jiren's. There was no... what was the other card that was missing? There was another big one that was missing. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But, like, what I'm assuming happened is that I had built Goku or Gogeta Zeno at some point after that, which I don't remember doing exactly, because I know I played that, but I'm assuming those cards got taken out to get put in Gogeta Zeno, but for some reason the Gogeta cards weren't put in. I don't know what happened, because every sleeve had a card in it, and there were cards that looked like they should have been in the deck. So when I was thumbing through and looking at the deck, like just at a quick count, I was counting the important cards. Like thwarting the Empires are here, SS3s are there, SS4s are there, Demigrads are there, my Negates are there. Like, we're good. This is the deck. My Unisons are there, Secret Rares there, good to go. And yeah, so I'm basically playing a deck that is half cocked this week.
So that made me feel even worse to take an L to that. But with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Keep in mind there's buttons down below and on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
It made me feel worse that I almost lost to AOD. Like, I won because Bancroft misplayed. But read your cards, know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. Like, for real, take pictures of your fucking decks so you don't take a half-empty deck or something like I did and fluff out.
Hey, we got kids watching this. Don't tell them to take deck pics. Also, Bancroft sabotaged the deck.
I think he did. I think that this was just a ruse.